fights in Baghdad, skies full of fighter jets. The tension in the air, as thick as it gets. Their talking points are loaded at each press conference with what passes for an effort at historical reference. They talk about things that happened over 40 years before, that they say now bring us to the edge of World War. They talk about the hostages, so let us now rewind. When the students took the embassy, just what did they find? When the students took the embassy, I was just a kid, but I remember well the first things they did. Let all the women go while collecting all the trash, all the shredded documents that weren't yet turned to ash, all the shredded documents that clearly showed the torture and corruption, how the power flowed. The concept of a captured state was one the Shah defined. When the students took the embassy, just what did they find? When the students took the embassy, they found the crimes of Sabak, had the CIA hiding under every rock, and that's where they had been, where the agents were based. They had a staff of thousands there. From there they laid to waste the dreams held by so many for a free society, like the one they overthrew back in 1953. Historic crimes exposed in the shredder once consigned. When the students took the embassy, just what did they find? When the students took the embassy, Jacob Blake was walking to his SUV, Alton Sterling, was selling DVDs. Eric Garner had just broken up a fight. Breonna Taylor was asleep in the middle of the night. Tamir Rice was playing in the park. Elijah McClain was out walking after dark. Dominique Clayton was sleeping in her bed when she was shot by a cop in the back of her head. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Walter Scott was driving to a store. Betty Jones was answering her door. Philando Castile was driving home with his girlfriend. Anthony Hill was naked on the grass when he met his end. Edsel Ford was walking in his neighborhood. Michael Brown was blown away just standing where he stood. Kendra James was shot to death at a traffic stop by yet another unaccountable killer cop. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Say their names. Tatiana Jefferson was playing a video game with her little nephew. Gunned down just the same. Oscar Grant was celebrating the new year, handcuffed when the shots rang out that everyone could hear. Eric Reason pulled into a parking spot. Not long after that was when he was shot. George Floyd was just shopping in a store. Micah Xavier Johnson thought he was still at war. Say their names. 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 Well, they're all sing-alongs if you happen to figure out the chorus before the song's over. That's always the problem with songs they say are sing-alongs. You have to actually know it first. My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. It was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. Part of a conquering army with the morals of a bayonet blade. And there amidst all these poor dying Catholics, screaming children, the burning stench of it all, myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick's Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick's Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched beneath the green flag of St. Patrick emblazoned with Erangel right with the harp and the shamrock and the Libertad Republica. Just 50 years after Wolf Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may. But from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion, and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in 5 major battles. Churubusco was the last. Overwhelmed by the cannons from Boston, we fell after each mortar blast. Most of us died on that hillside in the service of the Mexican state. So far from our occupied homeland, we were heroes and victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. Woo! Yeah. This one is a sing-along whether you know the chorus or not, because it's a really easy chorus. We're about to have all sorts of global financial crises, according to all the people that predict these things. And so it's a good time to remember what happened in 2008, and it's a good time to remember what a civilized country does with their bankers. Iceland is an island with 500,000 or so Vikings, mostly known for volcanoes, hot springs, and fishing. Known for its welfare state, for being good and socialistic. Certainly not known for being corrupt or nepotistic. But in the USA and Europe, when they were deregulating banks, Iceland's politicians took bribes and joined their ranks. Soon you had a situation one would think just couldn't be. A bank whose debt was worth 10 times the country's GDP. When Wall Street imploded, sure enough it spread. Banks all over the world were floating in the red. All over the world, governments made the plan to cut spending and raise taxes on the working woman and working man. The banks were bailed out while the people had to pay. But in Iceland, people thought there must be a better way. And the earth stood still a moment. Fear was struck at every top. When Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers to fuck off. Folks were were in the streets in Reykjavik and just couldn't be ignored. They said this is a debt we Icelanders can't afford. Let's guarantee deposits of all our people, yes indeed. But as for all the speculators motivated by their greed to make really dumb investments, to them Iceland said good luck. Sorry for your losses, but we don't really give a fuck. The 1% all trembled when they took away the trough. When Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers to fuck off. Gordon Brown called them terrorists, and we cannot let this stand. Who do these peacenik blondes think they are in Iceland? He threatened isolation and economy in flames, but the Icelanders said sorry, but the banks could settle their own claims, so that might be harder for them now that they're under house arrest. Or else they fled the country as they were most unwelcome guests, and now Reykjavik's recovery just makes the fat cats cough. Since Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers to fuck off. If you haven't heard of this example, perhaps there's a reason why. The owners of the world don't want this kind of shit to fly. They say we all must pay up in this shakedown by the mob. If we can't afford to pay the rent, then we don't have a job. It's not their problem if we're forever shackled by their debt. Can't afford to pay. Oh, jeez, that's what I have the lyrics. It's not their problem if we're forever shackled by their debt. We must save the 1% from the fate they should have met. But there is an alternative, though it makes the fat cat scoff. Since Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers to fuck off. Since Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers, Iceland told the bankers to fuck off. Good talk. So there is actually, aside from economic collapse and overturning prime ministers and whatever else is happening in England, there's really exciting things happening in England that I have never heard mentioned on any Western media outlet. Really, nobody has talked about it other than Al Jazeera, which is not a Western media outlet. But funny enough. But nobody's talking about it. But for the past 2 years, all over England and Scotland, there's been folks under the banner of Palestine Action who have been trespassing onto Elbit Systems factories and smashing equipment and with sledgehammers. And sometimes for days and nights before they are finally removed by the police, arrested for a few hours, and then they drop the charges. And sometimes they press charges and people get found not guilty because there's the proportionality defense, and Britain is signatory to all sorts of UN conventions, right? And somehow or other the courts accept this proportionality defense. So Elbit Systems is mainly selling weapons and ammunition to Israel, to the Israeli military. So they say that they're aiding and abetting war crimes by doing that. So smashing the equipment is just nothing, proportionally to war crimes. So they just keep on getting off. So there's 8 factories, and now there's 6. 2 of them have been shut down. One in Oldham outside of Manchester and one in London. So there's 6 left. Protests were going on. They were going on for years. And then Palestine Action started smashing up the gears. And that's when the people got up off of their seats, took their families into town and blockaded the streets. For 3 days and nights you could hear the hammer swing, though no one knew for sure what the future might bring. They knew one thing for certain: these weapons of war must not be sent to the ports they're heading for. This is a note to Elbit Systems: you will be shut down when the sledgehammers of justice come to town. After smashing up equipment and smashing a whole bunch, a lot of folks began developing a hunch. The cops took 3 full days to send anyone inside, and after 15 hours, they let the charges slide. It seems the prosecutors understood the climb. British companies aiding and abetting war crimes. The factory in Oldham had to close its gate, and the muralists in Palestine said that's smashing great. So this is a note to Elbit Systems: you will be shut down when the sledgehammers of justice come to town. All around the country, hammers being swung, showing civil disobedience is stronger than the tongue. Taking action here so the weapons go nowhere, so they don't get sent to the IOF, cause we know what they'll do there. And so does the Prime Minister and the men who he supports, selling weapons to war criminals who don't want to go to court, who don't want to face the facts of what they've done, where the bullets go when they're fired from the guns. So this is a note to Elbit Systems: you will be shut down when the sledgehammers of justice come to town. This is a note to Elbit Systems: you will be shut down when the sledgehammers of justice come to town. When the sledgehammers of justice come to town. I was recounting to Yuan all 10 phrases in Arabic I knew. I forgot that one. Unadikum. Come all ye. Great song too, Unadikum. Look it up in YouTube if you want. Let's see here.
Arabic food.
I love Arabic food. I love Arabic food, Arabic music, Arabic people. What's that? Oh, this is an Irish bouzouki. I don't drive a car because they run on gas, but if I did, it'd run on biomass. I ride a bike, or sometimes a skateboard. So fuck off all you drivers and your yucky hordes, sitting all day in the traffic queues. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't eat meat, I just live on moldy chives or the donuts that I found in last week's dumpster dives. Look at you people in that restaurant, I think you are so sad when you could have been eating bagels like the ones that I just had. I think it is a shame, all the bourgeois things you do. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't wear leather, and I like my clothes in black, and I made a really cool hammock from a moldy coffee sack. I like to hop on freight trains, I think that is so cool. It's so much funner doing this than being stuck in school. I can't believe you're wearing those brand new shiny shoes. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't have sex, and there will be no sequel, because heterosexual relationships are inherently unequal. I'll just keep on moshing to anti-flag and crass until there are no differences in gender, race, or class. All you brainwashed breeders, you just haven't got a clue. I'm a better anarchist than you. I don't believe in leaders, I think consensus is the key. I don't believe in stupid notions like representative democracy. Whether or not it works, I know it is the case that only direct action can save the human race. So when I see you in your voting booth, then I know it's true. I'm a better anarchist than you. I am not a pacifist, I like throwing bricks, and when the cops have caught me and I've taken a few licks, I always feel lucky if I get a bloody nose, because I feel so militant and everybody knows by the time the riot is all through, I'm a better anarchist than you. I'm a better anarchist than you. I wrote that song years before Twitter existed, believe it or not. house costs $1,000,000 and you can't pay the rent. When petitions can't help but it keeps getting worse each time the landlord lobby pulls the strings of the purse. When the human right to housing isn't even part of the debate, you know you're living in a failed state. Citizens are spending half their lives locked up in a prison for trying to survive. When laws must be broken just to have a place to stay. When the prisons pay the senators to look the other way. If you have to be a criminal to put food upon your plate, you know you're living in a failed state. When the trees are all on fire, when half the country's underwater, when a climate change denier runs the nation, and the opposition party votes for oil rigs and pipelines, it's not so much a country as it is a corporation buckling under its weight, you know you're living in a failed state. Empire facing daily blowback, and the only thing your leaders can think to do is attack. Bipartisan consensus that we need to spend $700 billion before the year's end on a military budget to make America great. You know you're living in a failed state. Some psycho with a gun has to open fire on a crowd before it's done. When the music festival becomes a free fire zone, and all they can say is it's okay now, he was acting alone. Buy some armor, pray to God, and hide behind a gate. You know you're living in a failed state. You know you're living in a failed state. You know you're living in a failed state. Keeps on getting so much more failed. It's quite remarkable. World War III, amid the lightning and thunder, those left alive, as long as they live, will wonder. Was there something that could have been done before nuclear winter blocked out the sun, after the earth that we once knew was blown asunder? At the end of World War III, any pundits who may still be found will have heated debates about how the end came round. Was it the Black Sea blockade when the rush for the end times was made, or the breaking of promises promised when the wall came down? At the end of World War III, as people look for clean water to drink, as they're dreaming of the days when they had a kitchen sink, wishing they could try again to talk to belligerent men, back when we were hanging on the brink. At the end of World War III, with billions dead or dying, it won't matter who was right or who was lying. When civilization has ended, once the last warhead's descended, only then will there be no one left behind. At the end of World War III, as the few left alive survey the rubble remaining, wondering how long they'll survive. Too late to question the story of expansion or conquest or glory. No time to rewind from the date Armageddon arrived.